Hi everyone, it's Urmi and Sanjay from Jetsetting with us.
Today, we're going to take you to one of the most unique national parks in the entire system in the US, Olympic National Park. This is a place where you can start your morning by the rugged Pacific coast, wander through a lush rainforest by lunchtime, and finish the day with alpine mountain views, all in the same park.
If you love national parks and enjoy travel tips, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on our many adventures to come. We've got a lot more coming your way. Olympic National Park isn't like your typical national park in that there's no single road that cuts through the park, kind of like the Going to the Sun road cuts through Glacier National Park. Instead, this park is made up of several different sections that are spread across the Olympic Peninsula.
If you're flying in, you'll probably land at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. From there, it's about a 2 to 3 hour drive to the main park areas, depending on where you go first. Many visitors choose to base themselves in Port Angeles. That's a convenient spot if you want to see Hurricane Ridge, Lake Crescent, and Sol Duc, which are all close by.
But if you're planning to visit the Hoh Rainforest or Ruby Beach, just know they're a couple of hours further out. So you'll spend a lot of time driving if you want to see it all in just a couple of days.
We did Olympic as a 2-day trip in a clockwise direction, and that gave us enough time to see the coast, the mountains, and the rainforest. However, our trip was pretty intense doing it that way, and if we were to do it again, we would actually prefer a 3-day trip without the intensity of constant hiking and long hours on the road. Our first stop was at Ruby Beach, one of the most famous spots on the Washington coast. It's an easy walk from the parking lot right down to the beach. For us, this was really just a quick stop to stretch our legs during the long drive from Mount Rainier over to Hoh Rainforest.
We are at Ruby Beach and we just drove 3 hours from Tacoma in that beautiful Pacific Northwest rain. And as we pulled into the parking lot here, we just got so lucky. The sun just broke out. It's covered a little bit by clouds right at this moment, but about 20 minutes ago, the sun was shining beautifully through. So we got a few minutes to do a fake sunbathe out here in the beach. It's not really a sand beach. It's not a place you go, swimming or anything. You don't see anyone in the water. It's primarily a tourist attraction. You see the pebble beach, there's some driftwood and maybe some rocks. So I would say, from a sunbathing perspective, there's not much to do here. From a hiking perspective, I think there's also not a lot to do here. I think most people are just coming to take a quick 10-15 minute walk to stretch their legs. But besides that, if you never saw the Pacific Ocean, this is a great place to come see that.
The Hoh Rainforest is one of just a few temperate rainforests in the world, and the trees here are covered in thick moss and ferns. It honestly feels like stepping into another world. The footage here does not do this place justice. Because of low lighting, it's really hard to get good footage.
The Hall of Mosses Trail is the most popular hike here. It's only about a mile long and easy for almost anyone to do. This is definitely one of the most photogenic places in the park, if you can adjust for the low light. You'll want to give yourself extra time to stop constantly along the way. Every turn feels like a postcard. If you're short on time in Olympic, the Hall of Mosses Trail is the perfect way to experience the rainforest ecosystem without needing a long hike.
So we're about 90% of the way through the Hall of Mosses Trail, and this has been just awesome. And you see some really unique trees here, and even if you don't get into the types of trees and stuff, it's just this has been awesome. Definitely, if you have time to make it out to the Hoh Rainforest during your trip to Washington State for Olympic National Park, I would highly recommend trying to make it out here. Ruby Beach was kind of like an okay stop, not really necessary, although you could do that in the same day as Hoh Rainforest, but this has been just awesome. I mean, just check out over here, this branch hanging off this tree. This giant tree, just to see people next to the tree. Right, you just look how tall this tree is. And then this large branch just hanging off of it. This is just super cool.
The next day, our goal was to see Hurricane Hill at the top of Hurricane Ridge. However, on the National Park's live webcam, we could see the area was just shrouded in fog. The whole point is to go up there for the view, and if you can't see anything, it's kind of a waste, right? So to make the most of our time, we actually decided to hike at Lake Crescent first, and then check the live webcam again to see if we got lucky with the sun shining through.
Lake Crescent is a glacially carved lake with some of the clearest water you'll find anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. We didn't do any big hikes here, just stop at a small beach area to take in the views.
After our brief stop at Lake Crescent, we took a look at the live webcam of Hurricane Hill, and it was still shrouded in fog. So we decided to do one more pit stop at Duc Falls, just a short drive away from Lake Crescent.
Another easy hike, this trail goes through a lush forest and the payoff is incredible. The trail leads you to a wooden bridge overlooking the waterfall, where the river splits into multiple channels that drop dramatically into a narrow gorge.
Took a little detour out here to Duc Falls so that we could spend a couple hours, hope that the sun breaks through over at Hurricane Ridge in the meantime. And so we're gonna head over there, but this gives us a few extra hours. The hike here itself was about 0.8 miles one way. I wouldn't describe it as flat, but I wouldn't describe it as steep. It was kind of like hilly, so a lot of tree roots on the way, so it's certainly not like a well-paved path or anything like that, but it was definitely worth the time. I'm glad we had the opportunity to come out here, but I would also say that you don't have to go out of your way to make it out here. So if you have the time, definitely try to do this, but otherwise, not a real reason to come out of your way to do Duc.
The big show for the day though was Hurricane Hill for sure. After we finished the Duc hike, we took one more look at the live webcam, crossing our fingers, and sure enough, it showed beautiful clear skies at the top of Hurricane Hill. So that's when we went up and it was perfect. Clear skies, crisp views, and a totally different experience from if we just tried to suck up the fog earlier in the morning.
This area is one of the most popular areas in Olympic National Park, and it's easy to see why. On a clear day, you get 360 views of the Olympic Mountains and even out to Canada across the Strait of Juan de Fuca. In fact, our cell phones started to pick up Canadian cell service. We hiked the Hurricane Hill Trail, 3.4 miles round trip, mostly paved, and one of the best bang for your buck hikes in the park.
So we just made it to the top of Hurricane Hill and got this beautiful view, and it cleared up. You can see there's some clouds in the sky, but it's not too bad. So really happy we waited and tried to do this in the evening because it was super cloudy in the morning. If you look in the distance there, you can see Mount Baker, like that's how clear it is right now. I don't know if you can see that on camera. This was about 1.6 miles and 700 feet of elevation gain. But keep in mind you're starting at elevation as well. I didn't catch what the elevation starts at the start of the Hurricane Hill trailhead, but beautiful view. Definitely recommend this hike. I have a good friend who told me that he didn't like the Hurricane Ridge area because he felt like it was just driving and stopping for pictures. So I got to check with him to see if he actually did this hike because he's really into hiking, and I know that he would have loved this view. So, but definitely would recommend this. So if you're coming out here, do the hike for sure.
Next up, we want to share our pro tips so that you can make the most of your visit to Olympic National Park.
Tip number 1, the park is large, and we mean huge. There are multiple different sections between the rainforest, the beach, and Hurricane Hill, so don't try to do it all in one day. Plan your itinerary carefully, and you'll make much more out of your trip.
Tip number 2, weather changes fast, so build in flexibility. At Hurricane Ridge especially, make use of the live webcam that they have available on the NPS website. This allowed us to check when the fog was there and saved us from making a 1-hour round-trip drive just to see views in the fog. Instead, we were able to better time our trip up that way for when there were clearer skies and spectacular views.
Tip number 3, mosquitoes can be pretty intense, especially on certain trails and especially near still water. Definitely bring your bug spray, or if you're like me, make sure you bring some lightweight long sleeves.
Tip number 4, plan on a 3-day trip. We made our trip to Olympic in just 2 days, and while we were able to hit the key highlights, Ruby Beach, Hoh Rainforest, Hurricane Hill, and Duc Falls, it honestly got a little exhausting for us at the end. I think it's doable, but 3 days will really be much more manageable, allow you to really immerse yourself in the national park, and give you much more depth to the experience that you have.
So all that being said, here's our overall opinion of Olympic National Park. We had a great time seeing this park. We loved the diversity of landscapes between the rainforest, the beach, and the mountains up at Hurricane Ridge. We unfortunately didn't get to see Staircase on the east side due to a fire that started the morning we were supposed to go. But that's okay, we had an awesome time out here. We also think that 2 or maybe 3 days is probably enough to see the whole park. If you only have a few days to go see something in the Seattle area, we'd actually recommend going to Mount Rainier National Park instead. The views were a bit better, and despite being a little bit more crowded, we thought it was totally worth it. However, you definitely wouldn't go wrong seeing Olympic National Park.
So that's our 2-day trip to Olympic National Park. A whirlwind of beaches, rainforests, mountains, waterfalls. This really is a park that packs so much variety into one trip. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
And be sure to drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Did you like Olympic National Park, and did we miss anything? Do you think it's better or worse than Mount Rainier National Park? Next, we're going to be going to North Cascades National Park to round out our trip to the Pacific Northwest.
We look forward to seeing you on our next adventure. Bye for now!